We have talked a lot over the past couple of years about what has been going on at the Teesside Freeport. And yeah, it's an absolute mess. It's something that really needs to be examined. As we've said before many times, these Freeports are not good. Like, they are generally not good for the British economy. They've never ever really been proven to really work. The ones that have worked have only really worked because of, do we say, significant outside investment. Indeed, you may remember, of course, Nissan investing up there. That was a free pot. They had significant, input into that. The Isle of Dogs only really succeeded because it was the center for London City Airport. Like, all the other rest of the free ports that were created back then failed spectacularly. And yet, you've got the Teesside Freeport with so much stuff going on there. Ben Houchin, bear in mind, in Conservative Home, recently wrote, and I nearly covered this, but I had to wonder why, where he wrote this massive thing about, oh my God, if only Labour would invest in the steel industry at the Teesside Freeport, wouldn't it be a wonderful thing? And you're like, well, hold on a second. All that really is Ben Houchin begging for more government money to be put into his Freeport because, well, let's face it, things are quite dodgy going on up there. And it was kind of funny reading the comments because every single person under that comment on Conservative Home was bringing up the fact of the reporting that had gone on in Private Eye for all the bit of the dodgy dealings going on there, and all the government, all the the public funded money that was maybe going into two people's specific pockets, shall we say, specifically on that point. However, it's easy to forget that there were other free ports created. And today we're going to be talking about another free port. This one is down in Plymouth. And once again, surprise, surprise, a free port not fulfilling its promise and pledges. And according to some campaigners, as we'll see in a moment, is based on pure smoke and mirror speculation about what is actually really going on at this free port. I know, surprise, surprise, a free port engaging in dodgy activity. What a surprise. But of course, before we do get more into this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and of course subscribe button. Down below there are links to my Patreon page, the one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, as always, there is the Pony Club down below, and you can always click the like and share button as well. So let's crack on then into this. So this coming from BBC, the title of Freeport Boss Still Confident of 3,500 Jobs Pledge. So, the boss of a low-tax, low-regulation business in the southwest has expressed confidence that it will hit its target of creating 3,500 new jobs, despite the criticism that the figure is complete fiction. So, the Plymouth and South Devon Freeport opened back in 2022, and in December of 2024, it had successfully drawn down on £250 million in funding. There are a total of 12 different freeports in the UK which aim to create economic activity, as goods are now imported into the zone are exempt from tariffs. Richard May, the Freeport's chief executive, said that it was very positive that the target would be met over its 25-year program. Manufacturers in Freeports can import raw materials tariff-free, only paying tariffs on the finished products, leaving the site for then somewhere else in the UK. In return for, of course, the tax breaks, the government have said that Freeports were expected to drive economic growth by boosting trade and creating jobs. Here's the thing. That is not getting filled. What happens instead is that companies move to the other side of the line to get those economic benefits. And instead, no new jobs are actually created. It's just jobs are moved from one side of the line to the other, and it makes the Freeport look good, like it's working. We've seen this last time from all these other Freeports. Then remember, Cameron closed the very last Freeport from that time because these things do not work unless you have very specific rules and regulations about how they are done. And because these were all set up under the last Conservative government, Labour cannot do too much to affect these free ports because they've all got these signed contracts, as you saw there, 25 years. 25 years, we can operate like that. And there's very little Labour can do without closing it down. And if they close these down, well, there would be a massive outcry. A massive outcry. So it's Labour's in a very hard spot where it does come to these things. But there does need to be, I think, a serious reevaluation of what a lot of these free ports are doing, having a look at the contracts they sign, and maybe even renegotiating some of these contracts and putting in, a lot more tighter rules and regulations around these things, because these are things that need to be looked at. Like I say, it's not just things that are going on Teesside that are the problem. Remember, there are 12 such free ports that were opened. Teesside is just one of them. Plymouth is just another one of these free ports. So, however, 2 years now into the program in Devon, and the number of jobs is still well below the target. About 140 new jobs have been created as part of this contract to build the Jackal 3 military vehicles in the South Yaxley tax site in Plymouth. A number of course, new business units on other Freeport sites on the outskirts of the city of Lankard in Shefford were also expected to create another further 190 jobs. Richard Howell, the chairman of the South Ham Society, said he believed the promises were basically a complete fiction. They are based entirely on hope, he said. Until you've got actual tenants, you haven't got jobs. Mr. May said in response, he said, it's a long game. This is a 25-year program, and during that time, we still expect to get the 3,500 high-value technical jobs within this Freeport. We'll obviously look and try and review this over time, but the reality is that this sort of soft regional impact, bringing on the supply chains, making sure that there's other jobs in addition to the ones to the land, to those tax sites that we'll obviously want to also achieve. Martin Gilbert, the project director at Subcat, while they're building these military vehicles in partnership with Babcock, said that the Freeport had made a, quote, very positive contribution. Ben Shalford, the business planning director from Babcock, said that the Jackal program was, of course, an opportunity to bring a skills agenda to that in line of the work. So, will this be another success story? I don't think so. I am thinking here, this is it. It's just based on hope. Sure, it's a 25-year program. It's a long-term, idea. But this is really based on hope. It is. It is potentially, I think, really just smoke and mirrors to make it look like that, oh, look, we're a free port, we're doing all right, right? It's nothing that we haven't seen before from, well, Ben Houchen. Remember, Ben Houchen has continually staked his entire mayoral campaign, his entire mayoral career on the Teesside Freeport is going to be like this amazing thing. Meanwhile, the rest of the region can go hang because he doesn't care about the rest of the region. He only cares about that Freeport. And then eventually he can turn around and go and become an MP somewhere. And then, start his own campaign to join the Tory leadership. Like I say, if you haven't seen that coming, well, I've got some magic beans to sell you. But of course, as always, let me know what you think down below. But it is, of course, as always, as we've always said right from the very beginning, these free ports do not deliver on their promises of economic, productivity. And I think Labour should be really launching a review into all these free ports, having a look at the contracts that were set up by the Tory government, and really looking at how they can renegotiate these so that these free ports can actually have, an economic benefit, or basically just, well, close them down, but some of them do really need to be really, I think, significantly looked at again. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.